This video is brought to you by Squarespace, an all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. Nick and I went on a little road trip to San Francisco, down to Santa Cruz, and Big Sur for our anniversary at the beginning of June, and I thought it would be fun to share a little bit about how I like to cook when we travel. This is just one meal that I'm sharing, and obviously every trip is different, but this one was actually special because we visited Rainbow Grocery in San Francisco, which is this gorgeous store that has tons of bulk options and fresh local produce. It's really like my Disneyland, and so everything that I'm cooking in this video pretty much is from Rainbow, which is special to me. I used to eat a ton of bread and cheese. I was definitely a junk food vegetarian, but several years ago I found out that my body was sensitive to those two foods, my two favorite foods, and they were actually contributing to my autoimmune condition. So from then on, I really dramatically changed the way that I ate, and all that being said, at the beginning of my health journey, and really even before that, I had a bad relationship with food, and I really hated cooking. I thought it was boring and just like a burden, but now I actually really enjoy it. I've given myself the permission to cook simply, and strangely enough, that's given me a lot of freedom in the kitchen, and obviously the fact that I feel a lot better now because of the healthy foods that I eat helps too. So this was our last night in Big Sur, and as you can see, I have the trunk organized, just like I shared in the video, with just a couple things moved around. I had pasta that I wanted to make, so I started pulling the ingredients out that I was going to use for this meal, so that I can move them over to the picnic table so I can get a little organized. This little bottle is olive oil, and I would normally keep it in a darker colored container, to protect it from the sun, but they had it bulk, like on tap basically at Rainbow, and I really wanted it, so I just used this container that I already had. I also had some potatoes and an onion in there that I was going to use to make potato tacos with, but we ended up having enough of this pasta for leftovers, so those are the potatoes and the onion that I used in my food waste video with Christine, and I'll link that for you guys too. Reusables are a way of life around here, so while I got everything set up, I cleaned out a few containers to put leftovers in, and luckily we had a spigot right in our campsite, so cleaning was a breeze. I did end up bringing the steamer basket because, again, I thought I was going to steam potatoes for tacos, but it ended up being the perfect size to rinse off my produce. We were able to get package-free cherries, blueberries, and Persian cucumbers at Rainbow, and they were so good. When we camp, I always keep a jar or a bag with me for compost. I just keep it in my cooler so that it doesn't get funky. I was about to cut the onion on the shelf in our little trunk kitchen because I like the height of it, but then I realized it would probably make our car smell like onions, so I decided to move over to the picnic table. The idea here was just to cut everything up roughly so that I could cook it all together in the cast iron skillet, and that's what I did. Look how happy I look. By the way, Nick normally helps me cook, but on this day he was on camera duty, and that was fine with me. Once the onions were going, I decided to start the pasta, so I got some water from our little kitchen setup and set it to boil. And here's all the veg. I totally forgot that we bought these mushrooms at Rainbow. Also, I had never cooked with them or even seen them sold plastic-free, so I was intrigued and needed to buy them. They ended up almost tasting like seafood, which I thought was kind of interesting. They cooked down to be soft and really good, not tough or like rubbery at all. And there's Nick. He's so wonderful and supportive. I love him so much. I would have had the hardest time filming these camping videos without him. I maybe could have done it on my own, but it would have taken me hours longer, so I'm so grateful for him. And here's me really going wild with that olive oil. When I cook veggies at home, I generally just use water to cook them in. I don't use a ton of oil at home, but I don't know, I just really wanted to make sure these veggies tasted amazing. So I used sort of a lot of oil on them, and they did taste amazing, and I just seasoned them with the oil and some salt. Also, back to the mushrooms, I didn't really know if you were supposed to eat the whole stem, and we didn't have cell service, so I ended up just cooking them up whole, and luckily they turned out great. While the pasta water was coming to a boil, I just cleaned everything up a little bit, and I cut up the Persian cucumbers to make it easier to eat them the next day. I also ended up putting the berries in that container too. And then when the water was ready, I added the pasta. This is my favorite gluten-free pasta of all time. The brand is called Jovial, and it's just organic rice and water, and it comes in a paper box that you can easily recycle or even compost, and I love that. Black lentils are the best because they hold their shape really well and they don't get mushy, so I love including them in recipes like this one. They're just so good. So we have pasta, lentils, tomato sauce, fresh veg. A side salad would have been a great addition to this, but honestly I was just feeling lazy on this particular night, so I didn't make one. Case in point, I was going to plate everything up and make it look beautiful for the camera and honestly for us too, but then I just decided that if we ate it from the pan, we wouldn't have to clean additional dishes, so that's what we did. I really value experiences like this little trip we took. We didn't have a ton of plans. We just sort of explored the local beaches and did some little walk/hike things, but really nothing too crazy. And I feel like sometimes I can get overly obsessed with having a plan and having activities and stuff to do, but really just having time together I feel like is the best, and I'm just really remembering that as I'm watching this footage. It's just so special. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that you can use to build your blog, website, or online store. They offer customizable, pre-designed templates that are modern and beautiful, and they also offer beautiful templates for your email marketing campaigns, which is a great way to unify your branding between platforms. I recently started a monthly newsletter, so if you'd like to see how I customize my Squarespace email template to make it my own, you can sign up through the link in my description, and I promise I will not spam you. This month's newsletter has a digital download from my trip to Big Sur that you can use on your phone or your computer, and I love it, and I really think you will too. So if you're interested in seeing what Squarespace can do for you, go to squarespace.com for your free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Alli Cherry for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.